Ever since the day that you went away, you went away.
Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Andra. I make commentary videos on pop culture and influencers. Today's video is a little commentary on Lana Del Rey and her newest dramas, as well as rehashing some of her old dramas because I've always wanted to talk about her. A few days ago, Lana Del Rey posted the cover for her new album, Chemtrails Over the Country Club, which is such an American name. But that's obviously not the problem. The problem is that she felt the need to defend the cover. Probably, I would say, nobody asked, but she just felt the need to, and it's such a weird, convoluted explanation. I also want to say that with everything going on this year, and no, this was not intended, these are my best friends since you are asking today, and then as it happens when it comes to my amazing friends and this cover, yes, there are people of color on this records picture, and that's all I'll say about that, but thank you. My beautiful friend Valerie from Del Rio, Mexico, my dearest friend Alex, and my gorgeous friend Dakota Rain, as well as my sweetheart Tatiana. These are my friends, this is my life, we are all a beautiful mix of everything, some more than others, which is visible and celebrated in everything I do. In 11 years working, I have always been extremely inclusive without even trying to. My best friends are rappers, my boyfriends have been rappers, my dearest friends have been from all over the place, so before you make comments again about a woman of color or people of color issue, I'm not the one storming the Capitol, spelled wrong. I'm literally changing the world by putting my life and thoughts and love out there on the table 24/7, respected. This is like such a cringe ass white savior shit. Okay, first of all, saying, that these are your real life friends would have been sufficient explanation in my opinion. I don't think you need to put diversity in everything. I think it's good to bear in mind, obviously. But I'm saying this as somebody who doesn't feel represented in the media either, because I see a bunch of white people, but I don't see Eastern Europeans, and I don't feel represented by colonizers because my people have never been colonizers. And I just feel like we need representation of our own too, but I don't go around holding people accountable for every single thing that they do. But I think with her, she's made her bed by having these racist allegations in the past. She opened the door for criticism like this. But I feel like saying that these are her friends would have been sufficient explanation without sucking her own dick, because that's what she's been doing. Saying that her boyfriends have been rappers when her current boyfriend, I think, or maybe they broke up, I don't know, is a cop, is highly suspicious, and sexualizing black men doesn't make you an anti-racist. That's all I'm gonna say about this part of the conversation. And saying that she's not the one storming the Capitol, I don't think anybody accused you of that. I'm changing the world by putting my life and thoughts and love out there. Like, you are not a fucking revolutionary, you're not an important person, nobody fucking cares. Don't say you are changing the world because you are doing fuck all. Where are your donations? Where is your activism? Where is your help? Just putting some music videos where you whisper and they all sound the same is not making you somebody who changes the world, I'm sorry. But as I said, she's made her bed. So I'm gonna remind you guys of her past controversy related to racism so that you can see what I mean. Back in May, she posted this question for the culture. Now that Doja Cat, Ariana, Camila, Cardi B, Kelani, and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce have had number ones with songs about being sexy, wearing no clothes, fucking cheating, etc., can I please go back to singing about being embodied, feeling beautiful by being in love, even if the relationship is not perfect, or dancing for money, or whatever I want without being crucified, or saying that I'm glamorizing abuse. I'm fed up with female writers and alt singers saying that I glamorize abuse, when in reality I'm just a glamorous person singing about the realities of what we are all now seeing are very prevalent emotionally abusive relationships all over the world. With all of the topics women are finally allowed to explore, I just want to say over the last 10 years, I think it's pathetic that my minor lyrical exploration detailing my sometimes submissive or passive roles in my relationships has often made people say I set women back hundreds of years. I don't think anybody said that. That's so much to say. Like, I don't think anybody will care that much. And obviously the question for the culture part is implying black culture, like that is what people have been picking up on since the start, and I thought the same when I was reading. Let this be clear, I'm not a feminist, but there has to be a place in feminism for women who look and act like me, the kind of women who says no but men hear yes, the kind of women who are slated mercilessly for being their authentic, delicate selves, the kind of women who get their own stories and voices taken away from them by stronger women or by men who hate women. Right, and there is. That's why the Me Too movement exists. There is a place for you. And saying you're not a feminist, but also not saying you're a feminist, it is strange to ask for a place in feminism if you don't even consider yourself a feminist. Like, you have to have some self-awareness. If you don't want to be a feminist, then why do you need a place? Why do we need to accommodate you? And I agree that feminism has a tendency to be a little bit about, the strong independent woman who doesn't need men, and she is working hard and having her own job, being a girl boss and shit, to the point that women who are more submissive, housewives and stuff like that, are dismissed from feminist movements, which I think is wrong. But I don't think that is what feminism is about. I think that's just a few fringe groups of people who call themselves feminists, but they actually only want all women to be the same as them and just be as independent, or they don't respect you, which as I said, I don't agree with, but I don't think that has to do with feminism. I just think that has to do with bad individuals who happen to call themselves feminists that you've met in the past. I've been honest and optimistic about the challenging relationships I've had. Newsflash, that's just how it is for many women. And that was sadly my experience up until the point that those records were made. So I just want to say it's been a long 10 years of bullshit reviews up until recently, and I've learned a lot from them. But I also feel it really paved the way for other women to stop putting on a happy face and to just be able to say whatever the hell they wanted to in their music, unlike my experience, where if I even expressed a note of sadness in my first two records, I was deemed literally hysterical, so it was really the 1920s. Anyways, none of this has anything to do about much, but I'll be detailing some of my feelings in my next two books of poetry. So you're just promoting your poetry. Like everybody said that when this happened, that was the point. Mostly the second one with Simon and Schuster. Yes, I'm still making personal reparations with the proceeds of the books to my choice of Native American foundations, which I'm very happy about, and I'm sure there will be tinges of what I've been pondering in my new album that comes out September 5th. Thanks for reading. Happy quarantining. A couple of final notes on my controversial post. That's not controversial at all. Oh my god, defending herself in this way. Despite the feedback I've heard from several people that I mentioned in a complimentary way, whether it be Ariana or Doja Cat, I want to say that I remain firm in my clarity and stance in that what I was writing about was the importance of self-advocacy for the more delicate and often dismissed softer female personality, and that there does have to be room for the type in what will inevitably become a new wave / third wave of feminism that is rapidly approaching. Watch. Perhaps I could have given more context to my post by mentioning the title of the second book that would be out next March, called Behind the Iron Gates, Insights from an Institution. I'm sorry that the folks who I can only assume are super Trump / Pence supporters or hyper liberals or flip-flopping headline grabbing critics can't read and want to make it a race war. So okay, so you're saying that POC who criticized you, I forgot this, oh my god. She said that POC who criticized her are hyper liberals or super Trump / Pence supporters. Have you ever heard of socialism, baby girl? Like, what is wrong with you? When in fact the issue was with female critics and female alternative artists who are dissociated from their own fragility and sexuality and berate more sexually liberated artists like myself and the women I mentioned. Wait, so you are sexually liberated? I thought you were soft and submissive. Now you're sexually liberated. These are two like opposites. What? But in truth, Making It About Race says so much more about you than it does about me. You want drama, you don't want to believe that a woman could be beautiful, strong and fragile at the same time, loving and all-inclusive by making personal reparations simply for the joy of doing it. Nothing new here in our reaction. Same as 10 years ago when a million think pieces came out about me feigning emotional fragility or lying about coming from no money when that was the truth. My aim and my message are clear, that I have control of my own story. If the women I mentioned don't want to be associated with me, that's absolutely fine by me. I thought you admired them so much, but do you not care then what they think about you? Doja Cat actually responded when this happened, and then she promptly got cancelled, if you guys remember that. I don't even know to this day what the fuck that means, what she said. And regarding Ariana, apparently Ariana would have answered her privately from what Lana is suggesting, because there's not been anything said public, but they did collab before this, which is always weird when you collab with someone to, hear this from them, hear them talking shit about you. And I just think it's so weird that they just, there were only women of color in that list, except for Ariana being Italian. So everybody said that it just seemed like she put Ariana there on purpose to make a point that she's not racist, when in fact she was. She clarified a lot of what she was saying, but it made no sense, to be clear, because I know you love to twist things. I fucking love these singers and know them. That is why I mentioned them. I would also like to have some of the same freedom of expression without judgment of hysteria. There you go. By the way, the singers I mentioned are my favorite singers, so if you want to try and make a Bond pick out of that, like you always do, be my guest. It doesn't change the fact that I haven't had the same opportunity to express what I wanted to express without being completely decimated. No, your fans are incredibly toxic and they are obsessed with you and they go after everyone who criticizes you. So I don't think you, although you have been decimated, I think your haters have been decimated too, so maybe don't cry about it. And if you want to say that this has something to do with race, that's your opinion, but that's not what I was saying. Bro, this is sad to make it about a women of color issue when I'm talking about my favorite singers. I could have literally said anyone, but I picked my favorite fucking people, and this is the problem in society today. Not everything is about whatever you want it to be. It's exactly the point of my post. There are certain women that culture doesn't want to have a voice. It may not have to do with race. I don't know what it has to do with. I don't care anymore, but don't ever, bro, call me racist, because that is bullshit. Why she said bro twice? And my last and final note on everything, when I say people who look like me, I meant the people who don't look strong or necessarily smart or like they're in control, etc. It's about advocating for a more delicate personality, not for white women. Thanks for the care and comments, so very helpful. And some of the comments that were posted around that time, the kind energy in this post is astronomical. Ariana Grande got crucified for telling Pete Davidson to stop weaponizing mental health. Cardi B got cancelled every time she took off setback. Beyonce has a whole album about her husband caressing the same back that ripped the skin of her ancestors. Kelani almost killed herself due to the media ripping her apart for a cheating scandal that she didn't even do. Sorry you feel like you didn't get a cookie for your trauma. Maybe take a look at your bank account if you want to feel better. That's 100% correct. And this is a long comment, but I feel like she made a lot of points. First of all, literally just posted something about Lana Del Rey probably 2 days ago, so to read this today was disappointing to say the least. This is the most privileged and entitled thing I've read in a while. Lana's music is beautiful, but how dare she compare herself to artists of a completely different genre and overgeneralize them as if they have no lyrical content beyond being sexy and fucking. Women are finally embracing their life energy, reclaiming their sexuality. That's why their songs are so globally accepted by other women. They shouldn't be about the division of feminine energy. It should be about balance. You clearly already have support and fans of your work. Why not focus on them? Make the music you love for the people who love it. Why drag other women, especially women of color, down in the process as if they aren't worthy? Feeling the need to let everyone know your pay reparations looks like white guilt, to be honest. Doesn't make you look any less privileged. Hell, being able to pay reparations is a fucking privilege within itself. P.S. Which culture is this question for? That's what I find so strange that he used the word culture, because that usually refers to, you know, POC culture, like African American. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next point because there's a lot to go through. Recently, she's been wearing this mask, which people have complained about because obviously it looks absolutely ridiculous, and she even wore it wrong under her nose. And she said this: the mask has plastic on the inside. They're commonly sewn in by artists these days. I don't generally respond to articles because I don't care, but there you go. Same goes for everyone's mask in my video. I'm lucky enough to have a team of people who can do that. Again, not that I believe it's anyone's business at all, but I made it clear who I voted for, and I don't glamorize tough relationships. Relationships can just be tough, period. Every other singer sings about the same damn thing. Always have, probably always will. Stay tuned. She's so salty and she feels like it justifies herself so much. Like, when you are at this point in your career, you shouldn't do this because you're making it worse for yourself. And there have been political conversations that she was involved in, and I don't know why the fuck you would ask someone like her about politics, because she clearly doesn't know anything. And I'm not saying this because I think she's dumb or something. I just think she doesn't know anything about this particular subject, and you will see from her answer why I'm saying that. She says the biggest problem in the world is not climate change, it's sociopathy and narcissism. It's not capitalism, it's narcissism. And yes, I think that's a complex used when they published an article on this. Lana Del Rey doesn't believe Donald Trump purposely incited Capitol riot is clickbait, and it's a bit misleading. She didn't say that, but let's hear what she had to say because it's funny.
So I just want to talk about a couple of things. Some of the articles that are coming out today about me thinking that Trump didn't mean to incite the riots. I think it's cute that that's the little takeaway that Complex gets from that. And especially with our relationship over the last 10 years, obviously completely disregarded, and the other bigger magazines, that goes for you as well. I get it. I have something to say, and I don't just show up giggling and talking about my hair and my makeup. I was asked directly political questions for over 40 minutes by the BBC Radio 1, and I answered them, and I said, when someone is so deeply deficient in empathy, they may not know that they're the bad guy. And that may be a controversial opinion, but don't make the controversy that I don't think that he meant to incite a riot. It's not the point, is what I was saying. The general point is the wider ranging issue of sociopathy and narcissism that's being reflected in our government right back to us. And what we've seen in the pandemic is the second epidemic. And I talked about this for 10 minutes. And I said to Annie Mac, this is the takeaway for me. We've seen violence within the household increase 300-fold throughout every county of America. 911 calls going up 300% because of issues of delusions of grandeur between one partner or another, and the violence that stems from that, and the chaos.
And yeah, her explanation is just bullshit, and she clearly doesn't know anything about politics, because this narcissism that you're talking about is literally something that stems from capitalism. And so is racism and other things. They all stem from class structure. And you can't obliterate this kind of social issues without obliterating class structures. And that is obviously something that communists have been trying to tell you guys for a long time. And of course her fans are obsessed to the point that they'll defend this, saying that I hate how people tend to forget that Lana literally has a degree in philosophy and majored in metaphysics. She knows what she is saying when she talks about issues such as narcissism and sociopathy in our postmodern society. She's a lot smarter than some people on here think. After tweeting it, I already started doubting whether or not issues such as narcissism and sociopathy lie within the metaphysics field. But I think my point still stands. She has knowledge about stuff like this and isn't simply talking about something she doesn't know anything about. No, it has nothing to do with that. Like, philosophy is not psychology or, medicine or whatever. Maybe, human nature in general can be about philosophy, but not this certain subject. No, it has nothing to do with that. Like, literally, you just showed your ass for no reason. You can go to school and still be very ignorant. Let's not forget the education system is very flawed in teaching real world issues. It's very much just here, read this book that tells only a quarter of the truth. I'm not saying that a degree equals being smart. I'm just saying that she's not making these statements based on just her thoughts. She has knowledge about the topic. Yeah, I don't agree. I think she's very, very dumb. And I think she likes to be smart. Sometimes. And I'm not talking about, she's creative. She's great at just songwriting and stuff like that. I'm not saying she's stupid at like everything, because I'm stupid at like physics and some other things. Like, people don't know everything. But when you are not an expert in a field, when asked about these things, maybe just don't answer. Maybe don't go to have an interview with BBC if you don't know anything about politics. Just maybe. Give that spot to someone who actually is knowledgeable. She also got in a beef a while ago with Kanye West by, Kanye was promoting Trump, which is problematic itself, and she commented, Trump becoming our president was a loss for the country, but your support of him is a loss for the culture. Here is why, I think that when she used culture, she meant black people, because she's using it again now in the context of black people. I can only assume you relate to his personality on some level, delusions of grandeur, extreme issues with narcissism, none of which would be a talking point if we weren't speaking about the man leading our country. If you think it's alright to support someone who believes it's okay to grab a woman by the pussy just because he's famous, then you need an intervention as much as he does, something so many narcissists will never get, because there just isn't enough help for the issue. Message sent with concern that will never be addressed. The way in which she's trying to diagnose him, like, you are not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I do think Kanye has some problems, and he does have bipolar disorder, as he said before, so we know he has some problems. The thing is, if I want to diagnose her based on the lyrics of her romanticizing abuse, romanticizing pedophilia, I would say she has childhood trauma and she was probably molested as a child. But I'm not gonna go around saying that because that is such a big accusation to make. And I wouldn't genuinely say that, but if I went only by her creation and her public behavior, then that would be the conclusion I would draw. And this conclusion would be incomplete because I don't actually know her. And I have never talked to her. So I hope you understand this analogy. I'm not accusing her or trying to expose something traumatic like this, because I wouldn't. I've been through plenty of trauma myself. I have PTSD, literally, I wouldn't do that. But this is just for the sake of the conversation, to kind of show what she would sound like if this was, or what Kanye would sound like if he said the same thing back to her. It would sound horrible, and maybe she shouldn't say it to Kanye in the first place. She should have criticized him for supporting Trump, true, but the way she went about it is wrong. And people have been pointing out that obviously her, a white woman, arguing with a black man, it's always gonna be in the white woman's advantage. And it's making Kanye look even worse because she's just winning the argument by default. Although I think Kanye has a lot of shit takes and is a very problematic person too, I just think the way she went about it again is wrong. And regarding Trump, she's done things before, such as allegedly cursing him. She posted a message with 4 dates and some cryptic instructions saying ingredients can be found online. And the dates corresponded to waning crescent moons. And Lana Del Rey got asked a few months later if she actually cursed Trump and said, yeah, I did it. Why not? I do a lot of shit. I'm in line with Yoko Ono and John Lennon and the belief that there's a power to the vibration of a thought. Your thoughts are very powerful things and they become words and words become actions and actions lead to physical changes. I really do believe that words are one of the last forms of magic and I'm a bit of a mystic at heart. And I've seen how I feel about changing those people's lives and I've been on the other side of that as well, on the other side of well wishes and on the other side of malintent. And I've realized how strong you have to be, bigger than all of it, even bigger than your own vibrations. And I think this is cringe, to be honest, like as somebody who actually practices witchcraft, and I have done so for many years now. And I just think, first of all, saying words are one of the last forms of magic, no, words are one of the original forms of magic because rituals often had words in many cultures. I just think she's one of them white girls who say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And I just think that's so cringe. Like, you take practice from like several different cultures and you appropriate them and you say you're not religious. Like, at least have respect for those people's cultures, gods. At least, just the minimum, you know? Another of her controversies was that she one time said that she was being sued by Radiohead, which apparently never happened. So she lied. The band's publisher denied that there is a lawsuit at all. But there have been talks between them because Lana's song Get Free is similar to Creep. She announced this by saying, well, fuck, I mean, now that my lawsuit's over, I guess I can sing that song anytime I want, right? During a concert. And a while ago she said that she offered up to 40% of the money to settle this matter because she has been approached about it, but there was not like a full-blown lawsuit. As Radiohead's music publisher, it's true that we've been in discussions since August last year with Lana Del Rey's representatives. It's clear that the verses of Get Free use musical elements found in the verses of Creep, and we've requested that this be acknowledged in favor of all writers of Creep. To set this record straight, no lawsuit has been issued and Radiohead have not said they will only accept 100% of the publishing of Get Free. And now on to the mini controversies that she's had. She's had the other controversy, which I'm gonna take her side on this. She got body shamed for gaining weight, which I think is the stupidest thing. Like, people don't owe you to look a certain way. They can do whatever they want with their body. I think it's okay to point it out when somebody is unhealthy, but otherwise it's not okay to even assume that somebody being a certain size means they are unhealthy. So if somebody actually says they are unhealthy and they happen to be obese, but you know from them that they are unhealthy, it's okay to point it out. Not in a, not in a derogatory way, and not with celebrities, because again, celebrities are not your friends. It's not the fucking same dynamic. I just think it's stupid that she got shamed for that. Another controversy that has been happening for a while is related to her music lyrics, glamorizing things such as being the other woman in the relationship, abusive relationships, misuse of drugs, and this kind of like living fast, whatever, living dangerously, promoting American imperialism, and promoting pedophilia and books such as Lolita. Moreover, the Blue Jeans single cover art had a man that was choking her. Another mini controversies were her wearing a Native American headdress for her Ride music video, which was obviously called cultural appropriation, which kind of links in with what she said, that she wants to give reparations. I wonder if this has somehow to do with that, because this was many years ago. So I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. And she also had drama with Azealia Banks, but let's face it, who doesn't Azealia Banks have drama with? But this time she kind of made a point, but then she was stupid after that. She said, "To me, this just looks like a typical white woman using a weakened targets to pretend to be an ally. Especially because you know that a white woman versus a black male will result in an immediate victory for the white woman due to societal circumstances. You wouldn't dare challenge a black woman on her opinion because you don't have that much of a social prejudice in place between." This is a good point, I think, but obviously Azealia has to ruin everything by saying that she will burn down her house, which this woman is insane and needs to be locked up. Like, that's my opinion on her. Honestly, you know the big bad witch is smarter than that. When her house mysteriously goes up in flames while she's asleep inside, I want to see as many Azealia Voodoo hashtags as possible. And Lana Del Rey told her that her psych meds aren't working, which, again, I agree with. Azealia needs to get off the fucking internet because everything she does is crazy. Like, have you seen what she did the other day? She's absolutely insane woman. But that doesn't say anything about, you know, how Lana's behavior is problematic too. And with this, I think I've got all of her major controversies. Let me know if I missed any of them. Like this video if you liked it, comment down below again if I missed any of them or what you think about this video overall, and subscribe to my channel for more commentary, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Ever since the day that you went away.